Good morning, true crime friends. How y'all doing? Listen, we are on verdict watch for the state of North Dakota. North Dakota? One of them states out west versus Nichole Rice in the deadly roommate trial. Boom, boom, boom. This one is kind of a nail biter. We're going to talk about it. But first, you know what you need to do. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. That helps other people find us. Also, find me over on the socials, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. How come I can never remember those three? Okay, so look, anyway. So this is what you need to know. I'm going to talk about day 7 of the trial. This is actually part 3 of my coverage of this trial. So I'll put a link in the description box of this video to the other parts, to the Nichole Rice playlist, so you can see everything I've said about her. But look, Nichole Rice is on trial for the unfortunate unaliving of her roommate from 18 years ago. Remember when you was 18, you were pain in the neck, you thought you knew everything. You got your first apartment, you were like, this is going to be great. And then you start living with this other person, and you're like, this person is terrible. These two women were not getting along good. And so when one roommate, Anita Knudsen, is found no longer on this mortal coil, everybody was like, Nikki girl, what you do? And so all this week, or all last week, the state has brought in all of these old witnesses. Child, everybody's trying to remember what happened 18 years ago. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. And they're trying to remember all these minute, picky details from 18 years ago. And I was like, tell me every single thing, because you know I'm nosy. I'm a gossip. Listen, this is not the news. This is gossip, rumor, and innuendo. I'm in the union. Yes, the gossip union. So look. What happened was the defense attorney on day 7 of trial was like, they have an expert on the stand, right? And this expert is like, they should have focused on this dude, Devin Hall. I think Devin Hall did it. Devin Hall. If these people said Devin Hall one more time, I'm like, okay, we know you think Devin Hall did it. And also they were like, Devin Hall one time put up some Christmas cookies and they were shaped like knives. He put these Christmas cookies on his Facebook page, and I'm like, so now we're using Facebook. We're using Facebook pictures and Christmas cookies against you in a court of law. Okay. And so they were like, if I were the expert was like, if I were part of a crime like this, I would not be putting knife-shaped Christmas cookies on my Facebook page. And he went on about some other stuff, child. After a while, this expert got on my nerves, if you want to know the truth. Anyway. So then the state was like, hey, boy, hey. I mean, that's not exactly what they said. They were like, hey, expert, hey. Listen. I noticed that when you were testifying, the defense attorney asked you a question. You were like, I'll take a stab at that. Might it have been poor judgment for you to say, I'll take a stab at that during the unalive trial where a lady was stabbed? And I was like, oh, that's funny. But okay. And the expert was like, right. I should have used different words. Bit by bit, point by point, the state kind of disassembled this expert's case in ways that made perfect sense to me. And I was like, oh, here's another thing. This expert was clearly from outside of this area of North Dakota. Something about that does not stick in my brain. I think it's North Dakota, but I'm not entirely certain. Hang on. So we're just going to say this expert was not from this part of the country. This is what we know about a lot of these trials. Because a jury is pulled from people from the local area, they know the area, they know the flavor of the local area, they know how things run. And I was like, okay, the local folks who are witnessing this trial might know more about certain things than this expert. For example, Devin Hall was supposed to be out of town on the day that the crime took place, but he apparently took a train, like the Amtrak train, to Montana. Is that a real state? Unclear. Anyway, it's all Idaho to me. It's just all that's over there. So, Devin Hall apparently took a train to West Idaho to go to somebody's graduation or something like that. But he was not on the manifest for the train record. So the defense is like, we have no proof he was there. And the state was saying, but we know he was there because he's in pictures and he was getting in trouble and he had police contact while he was there. But I'm like, but why wasn't he on the train records? Then the state points out, oh, everybody knows you could just slip $20 to the agent or whatever, and they'll let you ride the train for free. Oh, I didn't know that, but I don't think that happens in New Jersey. Well, I'm not over here breaking laws in New Jersey, so child, I do not no. But the expert also didn't know that. Another thing the expert didn't know, if Devin Hall broke into this apartment to steal things and do nasty things to this girl and unfortunately unalive her, why did he leave visible cash and valuables on the nightstand? If the whole point was robbery, how come he didn't rob? He was too busy stabbing this girl up, or he was too busy doing actual things to her, which by the by, he didn't do. He was R-wording people all over town, but not her. And he was robbing folks all over town, but not her. He just broke in and perforated her all up. It doesn't track to me. But I was like, okay, I don't know. I feel like the state poked enough holes in the defense case that, well, here's the thing. The state laid out their case. The defense poked a bunch of holes, and the state went back and just filled all the holes back in and put it all together and made sense to me. Now, what this jury thinks is a whole other thing. Clearly, the defense attorneys are like, no. There's reasonable doubt. Me personally, Kathy the gossip with the big mouth on the internet, there is no reasonable doubt for me. It's very, very clear that Nikki did it. But I don't know. She's not guilty until the jury says she's guilty. Here's the other thing, in my opinion, that makes her feel guilty. Now, listen, I know folks are like, you can't go on vibes. Yes, I can, because I'm not on the jury. I'm just sitting here in my house talking mess. And so I feel like Nichole's face origami is going to convict her. Oh, the super-de-duper savage. The way she did some really, really superb face acting in this trial. They didn't bring in the fact, or maybe they did bring in the fact that she was known to have a bad temper. She had a very, very short fuse. She was in anger management, and I was like, and she wasn't just like taking the classes or whatever. She had a book. She had notes in the margins of the anger management. Somebody is found no longer on this mortal coil around a woman who is known to have anger issues. That's going to be used against you in a court of law. It's going to be used against you in the court of the internet. Now, did the state prove that to the jury? I don't know. I'm not on the jury, but the jury of me says, yes, the heifer did it. So then, hang on. State gets up there to make their closing statement, right? Now, state, I'm with you on this. I think she did it mostly because she has a murder face. Yeah, I know that's what people are like, you just can't go on vibes. Yes, I can. I absolutely can, because I'm just a big mouth lady on the internet. See, also, I'm not on the jury. Anyway, so I think she did it based on vibes and evidence and the murder face and all the evidence that the state brought. I'm team this heifer did it. But if she gets acquitted, I'm not going to be surprised. In the closing statements, the state got up there and they went through and they made their case and they did a really nice job. Here is the cardinal sin that the state committed that a lot of prosecutors do. It drives me crazy. They had a PowerPoint presentation, right? I'm not mad at PowerPoint. In fact, I love PowerPoint. I'm really, really good at PowerPoint. The PowerPoint slides were too busy. These people are you get so inside the case. You're like, we're going to tell you this and this and this and this and this. Those PowerPoint slides are too busy. I need you to do more slides with less words on each one and throw in some graphics to break it up, because all them words on a page, a dark page, white letters, my brain, it scrambles it. I can't do it. So they had these very busy PowerPoint slides that made my eyes cross. And I was like, okay, you could just be done with the slides. And then they had the timeline of excuses. Now look, Nikki Rice was up there like, I was at my mama's house. I was at my auntie's house. I was watching a movie. I was not there. I was there. She had a whole Churchwell chart of excuses. And I'm like, oh, they made like 2 or 3 whole PowerPoint slides of lie excuses. The truth don't need your help. The truth stands on its own 2 feet. You're like, I went here, I did this, I did that. Now listen, maybe some time goes by and you forgot. But if I'm a person of interest in an unfortunate unaliving case based on somebody that I lived with, I would have these facts down cold. I would know exactly where I was, what time, what day, what color socks I was wearing. I would know everything. But that's just me. So I'm just like, okay. And according to the autopsy, this is the thing. Anita Knudsen was in her bathrobe. She had no clothes on underneath because she had just gotten out of the shower. She was just getting in the shower, and she had, there was 2 marks on her, 2 perforation marks. I don't know if you can say STAB here on the YouTubes. Anyway, so they said it would not have taken a lot of effort to perforate her because she was perforated in the soft part. I didn't know your chest had a soft part, but I guess this Anita, did she study anatomy? I mean, this Nichole, did she study anatomy or did she just get lucky? She was real big mad though. She was a big woman. She was a big mad. She was angry. She was jealous. She wasn't that cute, if you ask me. Obviously, you can't go by that, but I'm just telling it like it TI is. And so she was like, because she was sick of this heifer. These two were back and forth and back and forth. And everybody was like, you don't unfortunately unalive your roommate over petty bickering. You don't? Okay. Duly noted. Now, let me say for the record, I am not out here self-snitching. I have never, ever, ever in my whole life, unfortunately, unalived anything. I needed therapy that time I hit a squirrel with my car. But when I was 18, y'all, my temper was short. My attitude was bad. I may or may not have been peripherally involved in a fire where my roommate's bed got caught on fire. And I did not start the fire. I also did not put it out. Well, I was like, seemed like karma burnt her bed, was not my friend with a lighter. I'm just saying. Teenagers, especially you living out on your own for the first time, you got a bad attitude, you think you know how the world works, you thought this room was going to be your kingdom, and that heifer keeps locking you out when your friend accidentally sets her bed on fire. I'm like, let it burn. Anyway, we not talk about me. We talk about these young people. All I'm saying is there may or may not be a situation where you get real mad at somebody that you're living with and you do an unfortunate thing. I have never, unfortunately, unalived anybody. Now, I did not commit the arson. I was not a party to the arson. I just didn't put out the arson. She should have had a flame retardant bedspread. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So the prosecutor gets up and gives a 1-hour closing statement, and she goes through every single detail. And then the defense attorney with his slick behind, y'all, is this dude from Minot, North Dakota? I'm not from there, and I don't know the culture of the place or the tone or the tenor of the place. But based on the people that we've seen in this trial, the people who've gotten on the stand, the family members, the things like that, I imagine this to be like a laid back, calm, rural kind place, except for the roommates who sometimes unfortunately unalive you, right? This defense attorney, he does not blend. He feels like a slick outsider to me who is just like, yeah, what happened was, yeah, like, I don't like him. I don't have a good reason not to like him, but please, no, don't get it confused. I think he is an excellent defense attorney. And what is the statute of limitations on arson? I'm asking for a friend. I would hire him if I needed some slick shyster to come in and defend me. But just as an outsider watching him on this case, I'm like, I suspect that the jury is not really going to take to him because he's not like us. You know what I mean? That's how they're going to feel about him. They're like, So he got up there and he was like, this heifer, I'm paraphrasing, obviously not quotes. This heifer had a PowerPoint that had too many words on each slide. Did you notice how busy her PowerPoints were? She should do less words and more pictures. Anyway, she had a very busy PowerPoint because she's a PowerPoint person. I am not a PowerPoint person. I am just going to get up here and tell you all the reasonable doubt. Oh, I'm going to roam around the courtroom. I'm not going to have any notes. I'm going to be repetitive. I'm going to repeat myself over and over. And then I'm going to sprinkle in the word Devin Hall the whole time I'm talking. And then you should not convict my client because Devin Hall and she wasn't there and the bathrobe. I don't know what the screen, whatever. He repeated a bunch of stuff. As he was talking, I tried real hard to listen, but I was like, okay, Slick Willie, are you sitting down yet? I don't, he didn't do a good job. And so then the state got up with their final rebuttal, and I was like, sis, you're going to have to keep this tight. You're going to have to keep it easy, nice and tight. Just give it a little compact, whatever. So, because we tired of sitting here. And by we, I mean the jury. But they've been sitting here for a week listening to all this nonsense. Now, quiet as it's kept. I ain't watched the whole trial. I watched most of the trial. I watched the opening statements. Wasn't that the most important part? Anyway, I watched a lot of the witnesses and everything. Oh, also, that slickster defense defense attorney threw shade at everybody. He picked on the witnesses. He picked on the police. Now listen, this I do not agree with. You disagree with what these people said? Yes, make your point. Disagree with them. But don't be getting up here like, do you see this heifer in the sunglasses? Sir, you are doing my job and I do not appreciate it. It is my job to sit at a nice remove and talk trash about the people who take the stand. Not you. Stay in your place, Mr. Defense Attorney. So when the state got back up, she was like, oh, he said he's not going to talk bad about the police or about the witnesses. Seems like he was talking bad about them to me, but let me just give you the facts. And she broke it down one by one. She was like, look, Nichole said she was home. Nichole said she didn't go home. Nichole said all these different things. But picture it. Nichole's out with her friends. She's at the club. She tells her friends, I'm going to drop by the house, pick up some clothes, and I'm going to go to my parents' farm because she goes to the farm every weekend. Now, Anita is over there at the house living her best life. Oh, she texting her friends. She got the music going. She's doing whatever. She thinks she has the apartment to herself. Enter Nichole, stomping in with her big, mean, nasty self. And she's like, rah, 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 rah. They argue about whatever. Also, if Nichole is coming back from the club, might she had a little alcohol in her system? Might that have lowered her inhibitions and raised her desire to somebody when they were not expecting it? The drunk girl, I don't know she was drunk for a fact. I'm just telling you what I feel in my spirit. A drunk Nichole, or at least slightly tipsy Nichole, comes home to Anita, who she really did not like anyway, and was just like, ugh, this heifer, what are you doing home at 2:00 in the morning when I'm just here to pick up my clothes? They argue about whatever. One girl perforates the other one right in the chest, and then she made certain comments later on to her family. Oh, she looks so peaceful laying there in a bathrobe. Ma'am, that's something you should not have seen if you were not there at the crime, because later when they walked you through the crime scene, the body had been removed. How you know she looked peaceful? Tell us every single thing, heifer. And so I was like, okay. If I sit quietly and I calm down and I think about it, I ask myself, why did Nichole, who says she didn't do it, know all these details she wasn't supposed to know? I mean, listen, it is a small town and people gossip and maybe people were talking about it. I don't know. But what I'm saying to you is it don't quite smell right to me. Wait. Oh, and also they were talking about Nichole's defense, right? The police didn't remember certain things. And so the state was like, the police deal with a lot of ne'er-do-wells over here in the North Idaho, wherever they are. Nichole only had to remember one unfortunate unaliving. The cops have to deal with a lot of them. So the cops, they have an excuse to have a bad memory. Was Nikki's reason? Tell me. If you were a person of interest, wouldn't you have your story all buttoned up? And I was like, yes, state, I absolutely would. I know every detail about that alleged arson that took place in Bloomberg Hall back in the 80s. The statute of limitations has run. I feel that in my spirit. Anyway, here's another little interesting tidbit. I love to watch a case. Well, listen, I watch a case. I know exactly how I feel about it. But one of the things that's most interesting to me is to watch somebody who feels just as passionately on the other side and to see their proof or their thoughts or whatever. So this morning, the reason my video was late is because I was over there watching this YouTube channel, Justice is a Process. He is strongly pro-defense on this one. And he argued the defense case far better than those slickster, shyster defense attorneys did. So listen, if you get a chance, go over there and watch Justice is a Process. You know what I'm going to do? I like his channel so much, I'm going to post a link to his defense of Nichole in the description box of this video. It really helped me think about things from a different perspective. Now, do I think this heifer going to be convicted? But if she doesn't get convicted, I'm like, that Justice of a Process is a process, dude. He might have had it right. But for me, I think the heifer going down. I think, and then her sad origami face. Oh, she's gonna be super duper sad. She's no longer gonna be like a hapless little North Idaho housewife with a mean streak. She gonna be that convicted felon. We'll see, honey. In the words of my Southern auntie, I'm just gonna hide and watch. I will be back when there's a verdict. See you soon. Bye.